Over the last 65 plus years of Godzilla, we've seen many epic entrances to the King of the Monsters, from 1954 Gojira's first appearance over Odo Island, the amazing airport scene in Godzilla 2014, Godzilla's unforgettable arrival to the final battle in Terror of Mechagodzilla, Godzilla's grand entrance to the Heisei era in 1994's Return of Godzilla, the unsettling first appearance of Shin Godzilla, and even 1998 Godzilla had a very well done introduction of Godzilla, or Zilla. But today I wanted to talk about the epic entrance to Godzilla most people don't talk about. Not only was it a great, albeit rushed opening to a movie, it was an epic reintroduction to the Toho Godzilla following the 1998 Godzilla Backlash. The significance it holds in reintroducing Godzilla and the franchise to a new generation of Godzilla fans the right way. I'm of course talking about Godzilla 2000 Millennium, and why I think this is not only a flawed but great opening to a movie, but a truly epic re-entrance of the Toho Godzilla. This is my One Monstrous Moment Alpha Edition. Before we begin, I actually wanted to thank the Omnivore for creating the whole One Monstrous Moment trend back in 2019 for King of the Monsters. I didn't participate in it back then, but with Godzilla vs. Kong right around the corner, I finally get to participate in it. Okay, back to the topic. The film begins by introducing us to the GPN, or the Godzilla Prediction Network, which is a small independently funded organization which aims to monitor and track Godzilla movements across Japan, equivalent to real-life storm hunters who monitor hurricanes, tornadoes, and earthquakes, etc. The three main characters are Yuji Shinoda, the founder of GPN and a single father, his only daughter, an assistant Io Shinoda, and reporter Yuki Ichinose, who accompanies GPN to take photos of her Godzilla for her journalistic job as a reporter. Moments later, we meet the human antagonist of the film, Mitsuo Katagiri, the ruthless founder of the CCI, or Crisis Control Intelligence, which is an agency founded by Katagiri who aims to study and destroy Godzilla. His team uncovers a meteorite at the bottom of the ocean and believe it to be a new source of energy. This is of course a plot point that sets up Orga, who's Godzilla's opponent. So right out of the gate, you've established who the main characters are, what affiliations they were a part of, their motivations and character traits that are going to grow throughout the film, and most importantly, the film sets up the impending rivalry between GPN or Shinoda and the CCI or Katagiri, and their opposing views on how to deal with Godzilla, which makes Godzilla 2000 one of the many Godzilla films where the kaiju and human elements are interconnected and feel like they exist naturally and realistically. So now that the human protagonists and antagonists have been introduced, it's time to talk about Godzilla's entrance in this film and why I believe it holds a lot of significance in reintroducing not only Godzilla himself, but also the franchise as a whole. When we first see Godzilla, it's shot from the perspective of the ground level or human level. The lighthouse scene captures it in a suspenseful and atmospheric way that shows how large and powerful he is, destroying part of the lighthouse and knocking over the electrical tower, which nearly kills the lighthouse keeper. This scene reminds me of The Beast of 20,000 Fathoms. In the tunnel scene where the GPN stops at a demolished roadway, Godzilla is revealed by the headlights. As he's camouflaged in the darkness, he peeks at the car and roars at the characters after Yuki flashes photos of Godzilla. This scene actually did terrify me a little when I first saw Godzilla's silhouette in the night sky, with just his face staring directly at the characters. I'm actually very impressed with how they managed to capture scale with the use of suitmation, miniatures, and pretty convincing acting. All in all, this tunnel/cliff scene was very effective in showing the scale and terror of Godzilla. After that, we get Godzilla rampaging through the countryside, shot mostly from the ground level perspective to convey how large and menacing he is, as he destroys the buildings, the electrical towers, and energy facility, and seeing the crowds of people flee in terror eerily recalls the images seen in the original 1954 Gojira. Speaking of which, this brings me to talk about the importance of Godzilla 2000 and why his re-entrance in the Millennium Era works. The movie was released only a year after the 1998 Roland Emmerich Godzilla, which was negatively received by both critics, the fans, and Toho themselves, who didn't like the changes made to Godzilla, so they responded by quickly developing and getting Godzilla 2000 into production. Because of this, the movie feels rushed, and the CG effects were left unfinished. Despite that, Godzilla 2000 still manages to correct the wrongs of the 1998 film. The first 15 minutes of Godzilla 2000 manages to bring back Godzilla not only in a way that's faithful to the spirit and traditional design of the character, but also brings new light by giving it a new design, which is more imposing and menacing. We see the destruction he causes, which harkens back the apocalyptic imagery shown in the 1954 original. It was the first time American audiences had actually seen Godzilla from Toho since the 1985 Americanized version of The Return of Godzilla. Not only that, it helped introduce an entire generation of new Godzilla fans to the franchise, myself included. And because of that, I believe Godzilla 2000 is an important film in the franchise and one of the most influential, since it kickstarted the Millennium Era. Later films like Godzilla 2014 and Shin Godzilla take similar approaches of Godzilla by radically reintroducing the character to a new audience the right way, while avoiding the mistakes of Godzilla 98. All of that is felt and summed up when watching the first 15 minutes of Godzilla 2000. I, for one, really like Godzilla 2000. It was the first Toho-produced Godzilla film I ever saw, and it was the movie that brought me to the Godzilla franchise, aside from Godzilla 1998. Before the MonsterVerse came along, the Godzilla 2000 design, or Meira Goji's design, was always my favorite Godzilla design. In summary, Godzilla 2000 is one of the best entrances of Godzilla. It had a very well crafted, albeit rushed and flawed opening with mostly great special effects, introduced us to characters with enough distinct traits, and a rivalry between them that was set up to make us invested in them. And most importantly, it was an awesome entrance to a Godzilla/monster movie that brought back the franchise and the character, both in a traditional and a refreshing interpretation that harkens back to the roots of the franchise. It kickstarted the Millennium Era, made up for the mistakes that the 1998 reimagining committed, and introduced so many of the younger generation of Godzilla fans, myself included, to the King of the Monsters and the franchise as a whole. In my opinion, it's an incredibly influential film to the franchise, as so much of the franchise that we know today, for better or for worse, we can trace it back to Godzilla 2000 Millennium. For that reason, I believe Godzilla 2000 is a truly underappreciated gem that I have a lot of nostalgia and childhood memories of it. Before I end the video, I actually wanted to bring up this. I was originally going to do the scene in Godzilla King of the Monsters when Godzilla fires his atomic breath up in the sky as my one monstrous moment. But seeing how as I've already done enough videos on the Monsterverse, and given my opinions on Godzilla King of the Monsters is apparent at this point, I decided to avoid that one, and instead talk about a Toho produced Godzilla movie, since I haven't talked enough about that in my channel. With all that said, this was my One Monstrous Moment Alpha Edition, and what do you think? Is Godzilla 2000 the G-Flick that introduced you to the franchise? What is your favorite Godzilla or Kaiju entrance or first appearance? Let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to share this video to help my channel grow. And as always, long live the king.